founder at 10x Coder Kids and an official Guinness record holder for the youngest computer programmer in the world. And today you are gonna be starting with your class 9th chapter 1 introduction to Python, and it is on your page number 7. Alright, so without any delay, let's get started. And this will be your refresher chapter. And your class 9 book is based on Python. It's focusing on Python, and only one chapter is not about Python, and all the other chapters are about Python. So it's basically focusing on Python, and these chapters are important for you because they are all interlinked. And for example, if you have done functions in Python, you'll have to remember them when doing tuples in Python because they may be interlinked, right? That you will learn further. This is your refresher chapter. You have done this in 6th, 7th and 8th, and now you're just doing it in 9th. Pretty quick and small chapter. So without any delay, let's just start it. Right? So Python is a popular high-level programming language. What do you mean by high-level programming languages? A computer can only understand binary code like zeros and ones. The Python code we write is easier for us to understand, right? If you had to write zeros and ones every time, we may forget and may make big mistakes, right? So Python makes it easier for us to write code that the machine can understand. That's called a high level language, where it is human readable code. The code is human readable, right? It is a powerful language used for general purpose programming. So it's a very powerful language. How? Because there are many libraries in Python which you can use for your benefit, right? And it's a general purpose programming language. You can use it for anything you like, right? You can use it to code a simple calculator to advanced data science, right? Python was developed by Guido van Rossum. So the developer was Guido van Rossum. This may come in an MCQ or a one marker question. He started applying Python in 1989. Alright, so Python is extensively used to develop games. So the most famous library of it to develop games is Pygame. It's used to develop websites through frameworks like Django, Flask. You'll all read this, right? I'm just giving you examples so you can learn faster, right? So games, websites, graphical user interface programs. What do you mean by graphical user interface programs? Basically, like you see games and websites, similarly you have graphical user interface programs, where basically you are able to see the application, it's coming on your screen, and you are able to work with it here and there, right? So it comes kind of an it's programs, right? So you have to remember this. If you also write GUI programs, it will be alright. If you don't want to learn the whole full form, you can just write GUI programs and it will work for you, right? And finally, web applications. Websites and web applications are different things. Websites are basically where you can navigate through pages and do basic stuff. Is web applications is a full fledged application like your YouTube, where you can upload video, work with videos, manage your channels, etc. Right? Features of Python. Now we are on features of Python. Following are the features of Python. It's easy to code. As I told you, if we had to code in zeros and ones, it would have been a lot more difficult for us to code. But now, today that we have high level languages like Python, JavaScript, and many more, programming is very easy in today's date. It is very easy to write programs, especially in Python, right? As compared to other high level programming languages, right? This is because the language used to write Python codes is similar to the English language. It is very similar to the English language, alright? So you have to remember that it's very similar to the English language. It's an open source language. What do we mean by open source? Open source means that it's free to use. Anybody can use it at any time, right? It's free to use for us. Python is a free and open source programming language. An open source language is one which can easily improved and distributed by anyone, right? So you can make your own libraries also in Python that other people can use, all right? So you can download Python free of cost and use it on any operating system such as Windows, Mac or Linux, right? Object oriented. So Python has an object oriented approach. This means that the programs are designed using objects and classes that interact with each other. Now, this definition may seem a bit difficult, so let me explain it to you. For example, I have this water bottle. This is an object that I can hold. For example, I have that chair over there, right? That's also an object. Similarly, everything in Python is an object that you can use. For example, through the water bottle, I will drink water. Through the from the chair, I will sit on the chair. For example, I have this notebook, I will write in this notebook, right? So everything in Python is also an object which you can use further in your program while writing the code, right? So everything in Python is an object, right? And classes you don't need to know right now, right? Classes are basically used to make your own objects, right? So like you have objects that are already there, like numbers, dictionaries and all. Dictionaries, lists, sets, etc. And you can create your own objects also through classes that you will read further in the book. Integrated and extensible language. We can easily integrate Python with other languages such as C and C++. For example, you know any other language, you can use it with Python for to make programs, right? So we can also write and compile a Python code in C or C++. You can also write Python code in C or C++. This, you see the freedom you get with Python. You can write it anywhere you want. You can use it anywhere you want. It's free. You can create your own libraries. You can create your own objects. It's an object oriented language. It's easy to code. It's like English language. It is a perfect language for programming. All right. Interpreted language. The code you create in Python is executed line by line, which makes it easier to correct any errors. There are two types of languages. One is compiled language and one is interpreted language. Compiled language converts the whole code into binary code at one time, whereas interpreted language reads the code one line by one line to the another, right? And each line by line it basically uh, reads line by line, right? So it basically reads line by line and compiles it line by line, right? On execution, a Python code is immediately converted into an intermediate form. This is known as bytecode, right? The bytecode makes it easier to execute or run the code in future. All right. So the interpreted language, you just have to remember that there are two types. If you don't even need to remember that there are two types of languages, you just need to remember that the Python code is executed line by line in interpreted language. Integrated language, that Python can be written anywhere in any language. Object oriented, it everything in Python is an object. Open source language, it is free and you can create your own libraries. Easy to code, it's like English language, it's similar to English language, so it's easy to code, right? I've given you some pointers, please note them down. And last, on page number 8, you have dynamically typed language. Python is a dynamically typed language. This means that you do not need to declare the type of variables in advance. For example, if you write a equals to 15, you do not need to specify the variable a as an integer or string. So basically, it is an interpreted language. What does it mean? For example, I say x equals to 15 in your normal maths. You know 15 is a number. 15 is not a letter or variable, right? You know that 15 is a number. Similarly, when you write something like a equals to 15 in Python, Python will know that a is a number value. You're setting a to a number value, alright? Pretty cool. Now we are on installing Python. So I've already opened the website from where we should install Python. So follow these steps to download and install Python software. Open the website python.org/downloads, right? And it's also giving you the release, right, which Python you should use. It's giving Python 279. So let's go on release Python 279. So it's saying us to download the version 2.7.9. It's a pretty old version. Your latest version is 3.11.3, right? So I suggest you to download the latest version. click on the download Python 2.7.9 button. We'll follow the book and we will click on the download button. Right now it's not there because it's a pretty old version. So if basically we should click this button over here, right? Double click on the downloaded software. Whatever will be downloaded, just double click it. You can either look at the bottom of the screen or locate the software in the downloads folder of your computer. Alright, the security warning dialog box appears. Right, so basically this is basic installation process like you would install any game or application from the web. Similarly, you can install Python like an application, right? Click on the run button. So first you download it, then you'll have to install the application. So to install Python, you'll just click on the run button after the warning dialog box appears, right? The Python setup window appears. Like any other game setup window will appear, Python setup window will also appear. Select the add Python 2.7 to path checkbox. So there must be a checkbox there, and just remember whichever checkbox has the word path, you have to tick it, and then click on install now button, right? Then just click on install now. After a few seconds, Python will be successfully installed on your computer. All right, pretty cool. I have it already installed, so that's why I didn't do the full process. Alright, so programming in Python. Python has two basic programming modes, interactive mode and script mode, right? So to show this to you, I'm gonna open the default Python software, IDLE. Sorry, I open this, IDLE. It's just opening, right? So till it's opening, let us just read. All right, so this is the interactive mode that is open that we will read about. Interactive mode is a command line shell which gives immediate result for each command, right? So if I write something like print hello, it will give us the immediate result there and then, right? In interactive mode, we type one command at a time. Alright, so we wrote one command and we get the result. We can write another command, we get another result. If we type a third command, we'll get a third result. And because this was an input, it's asking for our input also, right? Python executes the given command and gives the output at a time. Alright, Python execute. Oh, am I rereading this? Alright. Follow these steps to start Python and work in interactive mode. Click on the start button. Alright. So it's for Windows, the start button, right? So if you just on Macintosh, it's F4 and you'll get all the application. Just search IDLE or Python. Alright. And just click on IDLE. Just open it like any other software. Alright. So the main IDLE windows appears, right? IDLE stands for Integrated Development and Learning Environment. You have to learn this full form because it can come as a one marker. Integrated Development and Learning Environment. You know, this shell is a learning environment, right? And it's integrated development. So we learned about that Python is an integrated language. Similarly, it's saying integrated development, meaning we can use many things in Python. We can use other languages, we can use libraries and all. So integrated development and learning environment. It is a code editor which helps you to write and execute Python programs in the editor itself. Right, so in interactive mode here, I can directly write code and execute it there and then. Components of a Python IDLE window. There are two components of the Python IDLE window. First is your menu bar, and then you have the prompt. Right, so let's see the menu bar. The menu bar of Python IDLE window is similar to the menu bar of other programs. Right. It has various menus such as file, edit, shell, debug, options, window, and help. Right? So it's like any other menu bar of any other application. It has just remember file, edit, shell, debug, four things, and then you can write etc. We are now on the prompt. So you will see a blinking cursor after the symbol, this triple dash, right? So we can see a blinking symbol. Here we can write our code. This is known as the prompt. This is the prompt. The prompt allows the user to enter commands directly into Python and get an output instantly by pressing the enter key. So type the commands and the prompt at the prompt, and you will immediately get the results. Simply type 3 plus 3 and press the enter key. The result 6 appears on the screen. Try more values and see what happens. So this over here in this prompt, you can perform mathematic calculations, no problem. You can also write simple Python code, right? But this is just for testing. When you are testing something, some new functions, some data type or something, right, then you will use the prompt. Otherwise you will mostly use the script mode that we are gonna learn next. The interactive mode does not save the commands entered by the user in the form of a program. For example, I want to save this program in which I've done 2 prints and 1 input. But because I've written it in the interactive mode, I cannot save it for future development. So you will have to use script mode to save the commands. So how to open the script mode? You press file and then you press new file, so the script mode has opened. So the script mode saves the commands entered by the user in the form of a program. To understand the working of script mode, we have divided the process into 4 parts. Let us discuss these. Alright, first create a new file. As I showed you, click on the file menu and then click on the new file option. Then you'll have to write a program. I'll write the same program I wrote in the interactive mode, that was print hello world, and then we had an input that said hi, that will take in the user input. So let's move on to the page number 10. Now what we'll have to do, we'll have to save the Python program. So what you can do, you can directly press Command S on Macintosh, Control S on Windows and Linux, right? Or you can just go here, File, Save As, do the longer process, right? Alright, so after saving the file, you'll just have to run the Python program. You just press the run button on the menu bar and then just press run module. That can also be achieved from the F5 button on Windows and Linux. So the program will execute and the output will be shown in the shell window. The output will always be shown in the interactive mode, right? Output will always be shown here, but the code that you write in the script mode can be saved for future development. Alright, so input and output in Python, right? On page number 11, Python provides 2 commonly used functions, input and print, for input and output. The input function, as I showed you earlier, it takes in an argument from us. It shows basically the user what to input. It tells the user what to input. So for example, I say input, right, and in this I say enter your name. Now enter your name we have passed to input. Enter your name will be showed to the user to tell him what he should enter in the input field. So now when I press enter, it's telling us that you should enter your name. If I was a user and I didn't know what to enter, it wouldn't be user friendly, right? The application won't be user friendly. So this specifies what the user should actually enter in the input field. So I'll just say Sion and it gives us Sion. Alright, so the input function takes the user's input while a program executes. The general syntax of the input function is as follows: input prompt. Here prompt is a string or message we wish to display on the screen. Example, name equals to input, enter your name Mohan. So what you can do, if we say name is equals to input, enter your name, right? So what will happen, we are telling the user to enter the name. Once they enter the name, that name they entered will be saved in the name variable, and we can use the name further. So for example, when I say enter your name Sion, right, then what I can do, I can say print welcome name. So it's saying welcome Sion, right? So we can save the value in a variable that we can use further in the program. Alright, so next we have the print function. The print function, as you saw over here, is used to show or print something as output to the standard output device. The print function prints or sends the output to the standard output device, which is usually the monitor. This function auto converts the items to string. If you try printing a numeric value, the print function will automatically convert it into equivalent string and print it. For example, I'd say print 15. So if I just say print 15 over here, what do you think? It's not giving us a numeric value. It's converting the numeric value into a string value and then showing it onto the screen. Alright? The print function also introduces spaces between items automatically. Right? Unlike Java and C++, Python does not use brackets to delimit code, but indentation is mandatory with Python. You will learn this further in functions about indentation, right? So the general syntax of the print function is as follows: print, and then we say expression 1, expression 2, expression 3. So what we can do, we can print many things at the same time, many strings at the same time. So for example, if we want to only print one string, we can say print and whatever our string value will be. For example, Python is fun. Right? If I wanted to print two values, I can say print Python, and in the second string I can write is. Right? So two values will be printed together. Pretty good. Let's move on to page number 12. So let's create a program to use input and print functions. Just to tell you, you don't need to remember these programs. If you understand the functions that you are learning, then you won't have to remember programs. And you'll say that there's only one program, why shouldn't I remember it? That's because in the further chapters you will have 20 programs in one single chapter, and you don't want to remember 20-40 programs for your test, right? So basically just understand the concepts and don't remember the programs. So we are now on variables in Python. Variables are memory reference points where we store values which can be accessed or changed later, right? So as you can see over here in this program, we did name equals to input, enter your name. So we saved the name entered by the user and we were using it further in the print statement. Right? So name given to the variables are known as identifiers. So the name of the variable, last time it was name. The name of the variable was name. Okay, let's name the variable a equals to 5, right? It will be less confusing. So a is the identifier of the variable. So in Python, we do not need to specify the type of variable because Python is a dynamically typed language and it identifies the variable type automatically. We read this previously, right? So let's understand this with the help of the given examples. Num is equals to 0.4, price equals to 30.3, total equals to round, and print total, right? So it just gave us a simple example of using variables. And you must be confused what is round. Round is basically used to round off values and don't show not to show values in decimal points. Alright, so now we are on declaring and initializing a variable. In Python, variables are declared and initialized at the same time in the following way: a equals to 10, b equals to 20, right? And print a equals to a, b equals to b, right? So it is declared and initialized at the same time. So when you are giving the name to the variable, you give its value there and then only. On the output screen, we get a equals to 20, b equals to 40. It's wrong. We'll actually get a equals to 10 and b equals to 20. So maybe a typo. You can also assign the same value to multiple variables at the time in the following way. For example, I have a variable that will have the value 20. I have a b variable that will also have the value 20. So what I can do, instead of writing two statements, I can say a equals to b equals to 20, and then I'll have two variables, a whose value is 20 and b whose value is 20. All right, and all right, so you can also assign the value to multiple variables at the time in the following way. All right, on the output screen, a equals to 20, b equals to 20 will be printed. You can also assign multiple values to multiple variables in the same line in the following way. For example, I want to only save lines, right? So I want to save lines. I can say name, comma, age, comma, class is okay, grade. Let's say grade, because class is a keyword, right? So class is used to define classes that I told you previously that we will learn about classes further, right? It's used to create objects. So class is a reserved keyword, meaning we cannot use it, right? So name, age, grade equals to, we can say Sion, comma 13, comma 9th. All right, and now we'll have three variables, name, age, and grade, right? Pretty cool. We define three variables in just a single statement. That's how powerful Python actually is. All right, so now on the last page of the chapter, on page number 13, on the output screen, name is Deepak, age is 12, and grade is 5, 6, 7 will be printed. You must follow the given rules while creating and naming the variables. A variable name must start with a letter or underscore character. It cannot start with a number, right? Or any other special character, like, right? So a variable name cannot start with a number. That came in the first point only, so you need not remember that point. A variable name can only contain alphanumeric characters, all the letters of the variable, and numbers and underscores, right? So you can only have letters, numbers, and underscores in your variable name, and the numbers should not be the starting character of the variable. This much you have to remember. Variable names are case sensitive, meaning a total equals to 10 and a total equals to 20. You will have two different variables. One will be total whose value is 10, and another will be total whose value will be 20. Variable names cannot contain any special character or symbol. That came in the first point. So you only have to remember that it can only contain variable names can only contain numbers, letters, and underscores. The variable names cannot start with a number, and variable names are case sensitive. This much you have to remember, and you are done with your chapter 1 of Python class 9th. I hope you guys like the video, and I hope your concepts are clear. If not, just comment down in the comment section, and I'll surely try to answer your questions. Alright, thank you guys. I hope you liked the video. If you did, don't forget to smash the like button and share this video with as many people as you can. Thank you guys. Bye. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep watching my videos.